Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Discovery Soundbites. My name is Marie Beam. I am CEO of Discovery Museum in Acton, Massachusetts, where we invite children and their families to explore science and nature through play, both indoors and out. I'm here today with psychologist, author, and speaker, Dr. Tony Rayo. Tony has worked with families in private practice and at Boston Children's Hospital and was an instructor at Harvard Medical School. He's the author of two books, The Way of Boys and The Power of Agency. Tony also served on Discovery Museum's board of directors. Welcome, Tony, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Marie, thank you so much. It's really awesome to be here.
Thank you. Tony, as you know, we asked just a few questions of our guests with a secret bonus question if we have enough time. So let's dive right in. First question, from your perspective, Tony, what is the biggest opportunity now to improve the lives of kids and families?
Great question. I think I may say something that's a little unusual or surprising. I can sort of pretend like I'm in my office today that, here I am. Sort of how I would do that. I get that question actually quite a bit. And I think people want to do more. And I think they're looking to do more. And my answer is do less, do a lot less. Go over your calendars, take out a couple of things, create space for your kids, and sort of like attached to that, do less for your kids so that they're utilizing their own mental apparatus to sort of navigate through the world. Yeah, that's what I think I would recommend. Less is more.
I love that. What great advice. So you've talked a little bit about what we can do at home. Any thoughts about how we can support this sort of behavior in our communities?
And that's right. That's right. Because we can't just do it at home, because then we go outside and children are part of really now a lot of complex communities. I would say have the goal primarily is just more fun, which I think will tamp down a lot of the hyper competitiveness that I'm seeing, what a lot of kids are bringing in with them, what kids are doing to each other. And it starts like really, really, really young.
Mm.
As you guys are like a complete, if I will, crazy about free play. This idea of, it's unstructured, but it's in a safe, wonderful setting. And that's, of course, what you guys do. And, I think to myself, like, where are the rec centers? Every town, big and small, used to have a rec center, boys, girls clubs, organizations. It feels to me like, like health clubs, libraries have sort of picked up that sort of after school life. And
Mm.
so I think banding with the communities on can we set up places where kids can go and they're not with their parents or they're not overly supervised and they get a little bit more of that natural time together.
Really great advice. You've talked a lot about the challenges that you see in your practice, Tony. What is one bright spot that you are seeing?
Um, Honestly, I don't worry about the kids as much as I worry about the parents, to be perfectly honest. I think the stress, the anxiety, the effects of this like constant worry about, particularly as the world feels like it's just, teetering on change every moment and chaos. Kids are unbelievably resilient. However, because they're small, they are highly vocal or present usually something very severe and it worries parents. But what we find over time is as long as you get them back to their baseline, create an environment by which things are again routine and predictable and not too stressed. Just make sure you give them back their childhood. Don't take their childhood away from them. They tend to do extremely well. Parents, on the other hand, like adults like us, like we hold a lot of the tension and the effects of anxiety that we get from kids who look like they're not doing so well. So I actually am extremely optimistic about kids, no matter how they present when they're in the office. They have a lot of runway ahead of them. They're going to be making lots of changes. Development is very up and down, here and there, on and off. So it can look like it's not going well at times. But their ability to tolerate change and adapt, we have a harder time with adaptation. They don't.
It's really interesting. I think we have time for a bonus question if you're
Yes.
up for it. And it refers to a little bit of what you were just talking about. We know that play is an antidote to stress for kids and adults, and it's also a great tool for learning. So, Tony, how do you like to play?
Of course, I don't play. I just work, Marie. I don't. That is a really good question. And I there are the usual suspects, right? Although I hate board games, I'm like not big on
Mhm.
cards and things like that. I don't know. I find them a little bit, again, they get a little bit competitive. Once I'm in, I don't mind being competitive. What I enjoy a lot, I've been doing a lot more writing. I love to write.
Mm.
And I've been going more into fiction writing, which has a ton of sort of fantasy and alternative possibilities, creating characters, researching things. And I find that when I'm in that space, no matter how big or small, it can just be playing with words, almost poetry-like. Remember the way we used to move little words around on, the magnetic words on refrigerators,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. I find that I'm able to block out absolutely every stress, negative feeling, or worry that might be in my future while I'm in that zone. And I think it's actually very similar to what parents are going to see when they come in. If you haven't been to where you're at right now, the Discovery Museum, the coolest thing is you walk in and you just watch the kids. You don't have to do anything. And just watch them literally sort of dive into this sort of natural zone of freedom in their mind. I like to play with words. I like to play with storylines. I have other ways in which I play. Some of them are social, some of them are game oriented, sports related. But I'm finding words and stories being sort of my go-to.
I love that, Tony. That's something I didn't know about you, and I'm so happy that you have that way of expressing your creativity. Tony, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you'd like to learn more about Discovery Museum and our work, you can find us at discoveryacton.org. Thank you to our generous sponsors who have made Discovery Soundbites possible. Come play with us.